why, but every April, all of my favorite authors drop their new books back to back. Just every single book with the highest probability of being a 5-star in the same month. So I thought I should read them all and see how many 5 stars I can find in one video. And shout out to Bessie Des for thinking of this video idea. She did it twice and I'm obsessed with both videos. So let's go to the bookstore and see how many I can find. I'm gonna go speedrun picking out all the new releases and books I think will be 5 stars. Speedrun, speedrun. Speedrun. The store's about to close. Go, go, go. The new Lauren Roberts book came out. Definitely getting that. Might get another fantasy book, and the new Abby Jimenez book is out too. Okay, I'm gonna speedrun this because there's so many new releases, but here are all the potentials that we are going to read in this video, plus Emily Henry's new book, which is by far my most anticipated book of the entire year, which we will definitely be reading in this video. Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake, The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings, Summer in the City by Alex Astor, Fearless by Lauren Roberts, Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, and Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. And also, this is not a new release, but it's new to me because I just started the Lightlark series, and if we want a high likelihood of finding another 5-star, continuing the series I feel like gives us a very good chance. Notice how these are the same authors but different genres. Pretty cool. So let's see if you can guess which book I will be holding in the next clip. Good morning, guys. I am so in the mood to drink my coffee, read a book, play reading vlogs on silent on my laptop. I'm so excited to do this. I feel like I haven't just indulged like this in so long because I've been clacking away at my own books. So I'm overjoyed to be sitting down and reading Fearless right now. I'm currently on page 75. I don't know how many pages are in this, but I'm gonna guess 600. But I've enjoyed every second of it so far. I love how much we get to see Kit and Kai together in scenes. I think I'm gonna love this book. Yeah, that's all I'll say. Going well. Hey guys, I'm on page 200. I am at a location shooting thumbnails with Ryan, so that's that. And my friends are here. Bye. Good morning, guys. I was going to update you in that last clip, but then my friends showed up and I didn't want to vlog in front of them. So now I'm on page 239. Our main girl, Peyton, is hitting the seas. So our map of the world is expanding a little bit, which is always fun. And I don't know why, but one of my favorite things is like massive sea creatures in fantasy books. I also love shark movies. There's just something about it that feels like, even in real life, the fact that there are creatures in the sea feels like a fantasy book. So if they exist, but they're like huge, like what was it, the Throne of Glass series where there's massive dragons in the water, I eat that up. I love that. There are rumors of a sea creature, so I'm curious to see if we will see it happen in this book, but I'm still having a great time. I'm like this much through it. I have this much left. Let's get to reading. That was crazy what just happened there. Unrelated to the seas, as I was talking about before. I'm on page 436 now. This last part that I've just read was so crazy. It was really sad too. Like the writing was very emotional, but this has 588 pages, so I am nearing the end. I have like 140-ish pages. So let's crack open an ollie. And let's finally finish this. I'm so excited to find out what happens because I genuinely don't have any guesses. Well, I kind of have a guess, but I'm not good at guessing what happens in fantasy books. Like I watch people's reviews and they're like, yeah, I totally saw that coming. I'm like, what do you mean? I never see it coming, which in my opinion makes my life more fun because then when I read books, I'm like, wow, that's so cool. But also I haven't been reading the fantasy genre that often. I'm getting back into it. So that's always the most fun because everything is just so new. I had a friend who was reading Fourth Wing and he had never read any books really. So he didn't even understand like the enemies to lovers trope. He had no idea who the love interest was gonna be, and that was shocking to me because I was like, isn't it pretty obvious who she likes? He had no clue. So it's more fun to not know what's going on. Something big is about to happen. I've been reading all day, holding this book, and my back muscles are like getting tight. I feel like I should film my reaction to this next chapter. I'm actually so curious about what's gonna happen right now. Like there's gotta be a plot twist, but I don't know what it's going to be. The part that I thought would be crazy wasn't as crazy, and then something after happened that is crazy right now. See, now reading this, I do understand how other people could have seen this coming, but I just didn't think that far. I just knew there was gonna be something coming, and I didn't try to figure it out myself. Let the book do its job, you know? It's like my excuse for just being stupid. No, you shouldn't say that about yourself, Queen. Dang. What's happening? Excuse me? Okay, that gave me chills. That was good. That was good. Page 462. Oh my gosh, I have chills. That was awesome. Dang, Lauren. That was good. That was such good tension. Like, that whole chapter was tension. And then it delivered. Like, mysterious tension, to clarify. Bruh, she wrote this book at 21. That's crazy. I've been reading acknowledgements lately. Done! I finished it.
How was it?
So good. She wrote this at 21.
That's actually wild.
It's now bedtime. I will review this in the morning. Might take this to bed with me and read a few chapters. Also, I read 480 pages today, I think, which is the most I've read in a single day in so long. Okay, it's the next day and I'm finally ready to review Fearless. Wow, this book is so much bigger than the other ones next to it. It's my first time putting it next to the full series. Obviously this is out of order. My first copy of Powerless is in paperback, which just feels like a relic. I could have sworn I had the self-published version of this book, which would have been really cool and special, but I don't think I do. It says Simon & Schuster on the edge, so I don't know where I got that in my brain, but I really can't just review this book without reflecting on the entire series because there is so much lore here. Lauren wrote this book when she was 18 years old in her bedroom. She went to college, came home, self-published it, and then got picked up by Simon & Schuster teen. And I literally remember seeing the TikToks that she was making where she would read the dialogue that she was writing and it wasn't even a completed book yet and she was just telling people what she was writing down, which is so funny because like if you already had a publisher, they would not let you do that. But it was so cool because people were so invested. I was so invested in her finally releasing, and self-publishing is so hard. So it was just such a cool journey to see, and also she was so young. And then just to see the success from self-publishing to getting picked up to finishing this entire trilogy plus a novella and like the massive fan base that there is now, I think it's so deserved and it's so impressive and I just feel very happy for her. And she has all of these special editions being made. This one was sent to me. It's so pretty. This is from Owl Crate, I believe, and like all of this fan art. Look at this cover. There's a TV show being developed right now. Look how cool that is. That is gorgeous. She has such a poetic way of writing, and I feel like it really came out in this book especially. It's so cool to watch an author grow in real time as you're reading a series as it comes out, but you can just read the love and the passion. And I think my favorite thing about this series is it's really, really simple. Like, I would say it's more of like a romance with a fantasy setting, but it's still enough fantasy to where it's not just a romance fantasy. It's really like a romantasy fantasy YA. And in this last book, she explored family dynamics in such a cool way, and I feel like she really dug into people's backstories and gave them very believable fears and dreams and wants and reasons for doing the things that they're doing. The plot twist got me completely. Like, the suspense was there and then it delivered. I just can't believe she wrote this entire series by the age of 21. She was done with this. Like, look at this. So freaking crazy. I love Peyton and Kai, and I love the other characters. I love the new POV we got in this one, and I feel so satisfied with the ending of this series. This got bigger and more epic and had crazy plot reveals, and it truly had me guessing up to the last second. So wow, I have chills for her. Like, 5-star series. I think it's just such a cool accomplishment, and I'm so excited to see what she does in the future, because if she could pull this off at such a young age, I can't imagine what she'll be writing in, like, even by next year. Probably something so crazy. This is so beautiful on my shelves. Wow, I'm so excited. So we have our first 5-star of this video. Obviously, that's why I picked this one up, because if it's the last book in a series, it's just hard not to be a 5-star. And if you haven't read this, I highly recommend it. It's young adult. There's no spice. There's like a fade to black scene in this one, kind of, but it's really like, there's not even, what's that word when you allude to something? Like, it's not even really alluding to anything. So I feel like even if you were in middle school, you could read this series. And I'm so excited for the show. I just want to keep holding this series. It's so satisfying. That is a lot of Lauren Roberts on my shelf, and I hope to get some more soon of like the next thing that she writes, you know. I'm on page 35 now, and I think she just slid in her first metaphor. And the second I read it, I was like, oh, that's what's been missing for me with the writing style, because her writing style is super cut and dry. This happened, blah, blah, blah. Not very descriptive, but a little metaphor or descriptive word here and there, I think, is a style that I really enjoy. The metaphor, if you're wondering, is servers with trays of appetizers were walking around, and he got me one of everything and slid them across the table to me like tiny offerings. So it's not even like that crazy of a metaphor. It's just really fast in there, but I love metaphors. Hey guys, it's the next day, which is funny because I was tanning in the previous clip and now it is raining. I'm now on page 100 of Say You'll Remember Me, and a few things are going on at the moment. I feel like the setups of her books are always so fun, so fast paced, something funny is happening, and you always get the male perspective and the girl's perspective, and this one was no different. It's always so fun to read in the sun. But now we're like really in, you know, the meat of the plot. My friend Brie read this book before I did, and I asked her review, and she said that this is like the epitome of an insta-love trope where they just like each other immediately. And that didn't really scare me because I was like, well, it's a romance book. I'm sure it'll be fine. As long as the actual romance is good, then I don't care how fast it happens. But this was like, this was different. And this is not a spoiler in my opinion because it happens on like page like 18 or 30, something like that. It's her second time seeing Xavier, this veterinarian, with her kitten. And it comes to the end of their veterinary appointment. There is zero tension. And he just says, want to go out with me tonight? She doesn't think about it. She says, yeah, sure. What time are you picking me up? And he says, oh, 7:30. Okay. Bye. Like, that was crazy. Like, I legitimately thought it was a Walter Mitty moment where he was visualizing himself doing that, and then there was gonna be a line that said, and that's what I wish I would have said if I was the confident man that I wished I was, or something like that. But no, it was real life. And Brie thought that they were like old friends and it was a joke or something. And I've read so many romance books, but that is definitely the most jarring way that two characters have like shown that they like each other, which I guess is cool, like no games and stuff, but I would like a little bit of tension, a little bit of angst and yearning, you know? So that's the first thing. The second thing is that I was gonna say subplot, but I feel like it's kind of like a rivaling plot, probably equal to the romance. Her mom has dementia and she's very young. She's like in her 50s. Obviously, it's a super serious topic, and I feel like Abby Jimenez always has something with familial relationships that are very real life and difficult, which is sad to read about, of course, in books, but usually I don't mind. But this one is really sad to the point where it's like actually making me like unwell to read it. I don't know if I can or want to keep reading it because of that, and I don't even know anyone in my personal life that has dementia, and it's still so sad. So I definitely would know that before going into this book. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I did have the words DNF just skitter past my thoughts, and I was like, oh no, that's not a good word to have skitter past my thoughts. But Emily Henry's book comes out in like 3 days, and I'm so excited. I literally bought tickets to a virtual event that she's doing because she doesn't do in-person events, and I'm so excited. There is such a small percentage of a chance that book is not 5 stars. Like, such a tiny percentage. So I'm gonna keep trying to read this, but if it doesn't go well, I might have to continue the Light Lark series. So we'll find out. We'll see. And I am drinking my third coffee of the day. It's a nice Saturday, so let's get cozy and read our little romance book. Does Abby Jimenez live in Minnesota? Because this is like the second, at least that I've read, book that's been taking place in Minnesota. I'm getting scared. I've only read 1 page, but I still want to kind of DNF it. I just feel like I'm forcing myself to like it, but I'm not. And like the dialogue is not hitting. I was doing so great reading though. I don't want to get into a slump, and I feel like not finishing a book feels very slump vibes, you know? Hey. It's like 7 hours later and I finished the book. I've read so many romance books, so this is a large statement, but I think this is the saddest romance book I've ever read in my entire life. And not sad in tears, but in the way that it's like so realistically life is hard and life can just bog you down sometimes. The real life logistics about if a loved one is sick and who's gonna take care of them, and family dynamics falling apart, and money issues, falling in love with the right person at the wrong time. I have never felt more like fatigued and sad while reading a romance book. And I personally, if I want to pick up a romance book, I want some escapism. I mean, on the back it says love is easy, life is hard, so it's not like that should be a shock. Hank was my favorite thing of this entire book. The one time that he's thrown in here, it gave me chills. It was so sweet. That part made me tear up. And like the overarching themes in the book were really beautiful and well tied in, but I am like really glad that I'm done with this, and I'm really excited to pick up a different book now. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars, maybe 3.5. I think sometimes other books are sad like this, but they're written in like a lyrical way, and so it feels beautiful and worth reading to me. This one is so cut and dry that it just feels sad. So 3-ish stars for Say You'll Remember Me. And going back to my fantasy era, I guess, I'm going to read the second book in the Light Lark series that I just started. I read this book last week. This is the first one, and I need to figure out which one is the second second one. I think that's Nightbane. So I'm going to start this one. Okay, it's the next day. It's actually 9 p.m. so I'm about to go to sleep, but I've been reading Nightbane for the better part of the day and it's so good. I was on page 30 this morning and now I'm on page 245. And if you don't know what this series is about, I'm so late to the game on it. I've had Lightlark on my shelf for I think over a year, but this is a young adult fantasy about an island that appears once every 100 years. And there are 6 rulers from 6 different kingdoms and they're all trying to compete on the island to break the curse that affects everyone. So it's kind of Hunger Gamesy, like one person has to die. There's a whole prophecy. It's like a riddle that they're trying to figure out and everyone's telling secrets and it's just a really fun time. There's a very prolonged love triangle that I think is going to span the entire like 5 book series. I don't even think we know how many books are going to be in the series. I thought it was a trilogy and there's a confirmed 2 new books coming out next year which are from the 2 different love interest perspectives. It's so fun. The romance in this is really good. So I read this one in a vlog channel video and now I'm continuing the series. I haven't continued a series in so long. Like I've been reading so many just one-off literary fiction books. I slept on fantasy like all of last year. I don't know what I was doing, but I'm happy to be back. This one gives me the same magical feelings that the Once Upon a Broken Heart series gave me. There's like miniature dragons in this and just cute atmospheric magical things happening. And a lot of that fun magic stuff is happening in this, but the stakes are still super high, which is my perfect formula for a book that I really enjoy. So this is going really well. I'm gonna keep reading it tonight. And tomorrow, Emily Henry's new book, Great Big Beautiful Life, comes out. It always comes out this week. I know it always comes out this week because it's also the draft week for football. So Ryan's having a great time watching the draft and I have a Super Bowl of my own with Emily Henry's new book. Genuinely one of my favorite days every single year. It feels like a holiday to me. So tomorrow at 10 a.m. I will be the first person at the bookstore. We're going to buy it. So I really need to finish this book because I'm sorry, the second that one comes out, I'm pushing everything aside. I'm so excited. So let's see how much more I can read tonight and you'll probably see me at the bookstore in the next clip. I'm not at the bookstore yet, but I'm gonna read until it opens.
Seeing stars, I fall apart. This crush is gonna crush my heart. So lush, I'm loving lying in your arms. I fall apart. This crush is gonna crush my heart. Baby, I should know better.
It turns out I have restraint that I do use, which is awesome. So despite buying Emily Henry's new book, it's so beautiful, I finished Nightbane before jumping into this one. But also credit to this book for just being really good because it's a second in a series. It's kind of difficult to be a good second book in a large fantasy series. I also just went on a run, so that's why my hair looks like this. But a lot of this one is training and preparing and setting up for something that you know is just gonna be epic at the end. And personally, since I haven't been reading fantasy for a while, I found it so worth it and I was so excited because I just knew there were gonna be crazy reveals at the end, and there were, and it delivered. And we get a lot of switching timelines in this one, and you get to see more of a romantic plot that you heard about existing in the first one, and that also just really delivered. So I'm really excited because I'm actually gonna read an entire series for once, which is great because I mostly will read the first book in a series and then just completely drop it. I'm not one of those people who needs to know what happens. If I don't really enjoy a book, I won't continue it. Is it 5 stars? No, but that's totally fine. I would say this one was a 4-star read for me, which is still excellent, and I'm really excited to jump into the 3rd book, and then next year we have 2 more coming. So it's probably more than a 5-book series. It's probably like 6 or 7. Even though this is classified as young adult, there is actually some spice, which I was so confused because there's like one scene in the first book and I was like, wait, isn't this like in the young adult section? And in my brain, young adult means like if you go to a middle school, you can find it. I don't know if that's true, but I do know authors don't have control over how their books get rated. So it's not like Alex wanted it to go in young adult, but that's just a content notification for you. And immediately after finishing that book, I read the first chapter of this one. Also, I don't know what kind of promotion this is, but maybe with the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, but there was a table set up with like a raffle system. She was like, oh, when you buy this book, you get to go pick one of the pieces of paper. And there were like 4 different buckets where you could get a sticker sheet, a pop socket, a tote bag, and like a pin or a bookmark or something. And I pulled sticker sheet, which I'm actually really excited about because that means I can use it in my reading journal. Look how freaking cute that is. It's stickers from her other books as well. Whoever her graphic designer is amazing. Like, look at this inside. It looks like a picnic, and I'm just so excited. We're following Alice Scott in this book, who is a writer, and she wants to write the biography of a famous woman who's old now, and there's a bunch of stories to tell. She went missing for a little bit and no one knows why, but she's ready to tell the truth. But there's also another writer named Hayden who wants to write the biography, and he's more critically acclaimed. So I'm assuming they're going to compete to see who's gonna write the biography, which does that not sound like Beach Read? Beach Read is my absolute favorite Emily Henry book, which I might be biased because that was my first adult romance book ever in my entire life. So I feel like if you're the first to something, if you don't know any tropes, you don't know the plot lines, everything is just novel, literally. a novel. But even still, I've reread almost every single Emily Henry book twice, and Beach Read still is just #1 for me. And the fact that this is also about 2 writers, I'm so excited, and I'm trying to just stay normal so that I don't overhype it in my head and then get disappointed, because that'd be really sad. But in about an hour, I am attending the virtual event that she is doing. So I'm really excited about that. Emily Henry Day. Oops, you're looking at a girl who had a perfect night. I just finished watching the Emily Henry event, and it was hosted by Kennedy Ryan, who is also an author. I think she sent me some of her books. Yeah, I have some up there. But Ryan watched the event with me, I made cookies, and then out of nowhere, it just started thunderstorming. Which, a thunderstorm when you're driving, not fun. But if it's 7 p.m. and you're cozy, it's my perfect night. So that was so fun. I think my favorite thing that they talked about on it, they did some like Q&A stuff, but they were both saying that they hate that people describe romance as escapism, because it's actually the safest genre to explore trauma and really difficult topics, because there's always hope involved, which I totally agree with, but it also made me feel really bad because when I was reading this book, I was like, this was the saddest book I've ever read. I want escapism in my romance. So I think to add some nuance to what I was saying, I love when there are difficult things discussed in romance books, such as grief in particular. Might be something that's discussed in my book, but I do think it's just the way that like an Emily Henry, or I'm sure a Kennedy Ryan, would write something difficult is so beautifully and lyrically that you're like, life is worth the living because you described a horrible thing in life in the most poetic way, and it feels cathartic to read about. Whereas this one, I feel like, not to harp on Abby Jimenez again, because I feel bad for doing that, there was nothing really like that horrible about this book, but I think personally there wasn't enough of that hope aspect or like the beautiful writing to make the pain of the book worth it for me. Them just saying that on the event made me reflect on my words, so hopefully that adds some nuance to that. But I'm only on chapter 2, and there's nothing better than diving back into Emily Henry world and not knowing a single thing that's gonna happen. Like I said, I've reread all of her books like twice, except for Book Lovers, and I've never read her backlist of like sci-fi young adult, which I think one day I'm definitely gonna have to do, and I'm obsessed with her writing style. It's just so Emily Henry, and I know that this book is going to be different for her. Even in the live event, she was describing how layered this story is, and it's really not just about a romance, so my brain is open to it though, because I feel like I've loved literary fiction with subplots of romance for a better part of last year, and when people ask me my favorite genre in real life, that's what I tell them. So now an Emily Henry version, I can't wait. It's the next day. I'm on page 135 and I'm obsessed. So good. I'm gonna keep reading, and Ryan and I are gonna watch Survivor. I finally have gotten into that show. Season 48 is what it took. Something about her writing is just pretty. She uses pretty words. Even visually, the sentences, the structure of them, you can just tell that they're, I don't know how to explain it. Every adjective she chooses, it's like, how did you remember that adjective existed? And I have started highlighting some things. It is interesting, we get flashbacks of Margaret's story, who was the old woman in this book who they're writing biographies about. And that's kind of the first time I've ever seen Emily Henry write in a different style where it's more journalism feeling. So that's very interesting. But she switches back and forth from it very well. Here's a guide to reading an Emily Henry book. Cracking open a fun drink, putting on your swimsuit, and reading the book out in the sun. That's what I just did for the past 2 hours. So I feel like I'm progressively getting more tan throughout this video. I'm on page 284 now. I will say she kept emphasizing how much this book was different than her previous one, so I was expecting the romance to be very, very subplot. And maybe that's why I feel the way that I'm about to say. But there's been plenty of romance in here for me, and it's also kept moving at a faster speed than I would expect it to. Like the first kiss shocked me, and everything else that they were feeling, saying, and thinking and doing continued to shock me. Not in a horrible way, just in like a, oh, I didn't know this was gonna be the pacing of it. I do think the flashback scenes of Margaret's story about her family are the most boring parts, because like I said, it was the most journalism-esque vibe of Emily Henry's writing, and it is told more as like a recapped news story rather than a live dialogued scene. And we start Margaret's story all the way back with her great-grandfather. So picture like a really rich and famous family like the Kennedys or the royal family, people like that, and that's kind of the backstory that we're getting. But I'm really excited for whatever the mystery is that we're leading up to, because in the live event that I was watching, Emily Henry said that she loves to watch or read things where you're just gathering a bunch of information and you don't quite know why you need that information, but you know everything will click into place at the end. So I'm excited for that moment. I wonder if it's gonna be like a draw-dropping situation. I do have a theory, which as I told told you guys so many times I try not to have theories while I read books because I find it more fun to just be surprised and shocked. But I have one far-fetched theory that we will see if that's true or not. It's to the point now where I have less left to read than I already have read, which is kind of sad because that means I have to wait a whole another year until I get a new Emily Henry book. It's so funny. Authors spend the better part of a year, sometimes way longer than a year, working on a book, and then we just consume them in like some people 6 hours, some people 2 days, some people a week, a month, but it's worth it. It's always worth it with Emily Henry especially. We had our first plot twist moment and it's really getting good. We haven't even actually gotten the full reveal of the plot twist yet, but this is all feeling like a reveal that's going to be worth it. That is not going to disappoint. I'm gonna sit here with my second coffee of the day and finish Great Big Beautiful Life. So many questions are about to be answered.
I would like to read one Emily Henry book that doesn't make me cry.
It's time for my Great Big Beautiful Life review, and I feel like my mind is going blank. I don't know why. I don't know how to describe why I liked this. I feel like I liked this because of all of the reasons that I liked all of these Emily Henry books. It's just her writing style. Her writing style romanticizes life in a way that I think is beautiful. I think she's the Taylor Swift of writing books. She can write painful things in beautiful settings, in funny ways, in very hopeful ways. She says that she has a passion for just making up businesses and naming them funny things. And I feel like this one, it shined a ton. Once she said that, I honestly saw it in all of these books, but especially this one. They go to so many diners and restaurants, and nobody does a summer small town vibe like Emily Henry does, and all of the fake businesses that she creates. I really do feel like Emily Henry is the Nora Ephron of our generation for books, and probably for movies soon, because all of her books are getting adapted into movies or TV shows. This is her first romancy book that has the most mystery and literary fiction aspect to it, and a lot of people I've seen online say that they either do not care about Margaret and her storyline, her family lineage at all, which I totally understand. Like, those parts were definitely more boring, but because I knew they were leading up to a big mystery, I was invested, and they also don't take up that much of the page. Like, I know going into it, okay, this is probably gonna be not the Emily Henry style that I love to read, but it's gonna be 2 pages long, so I don't really care. I'm just gonna gather this information, hold it in my brain for the cool mystery at the end, and the mystery was extremely satisfying to me. People are also saying it's insta-love, which I also understand and see, but somehow she makes it believable to me because these characters are like 33 or something, and they've had these past relationships and they're stuck on an island together. They have the same exact profession. They're attracted to each other. They have the same exact humor. It does kind of make sense that you could fall in love with someone in those conditions. Obviously, you would have to find out if it was just puppy love or not, but I do think like getting obsessed with someone that fast is believable, and I think it was done well in this book. I really loved Alice's backstory with her mom in particular. The way she would text her and her mom would just say okay or sure, and not ever really knowing where you stand with your family, if they want to see you, if they care about your work, or if they just tolerate it. Like, all of those types of things I feel like were so realistic, and the way that Alice was trying to cope with it I think was also very realistic. And seeing a character get over something that I feel like my brain also does was actually fascinating, because I was like, I do this in my brain, and how is Alice going to get past that in real life, aka in the book, because it just feels like real life. The family relationship stuff at the end, I think I teared up 3 times back to back, which basically just means I was crying. My eyes kept welling up and then going down and then welling up and going down. And yeah, I just feel like Hayden in this story was the most similar to Gus in Beach Read, who was my favorite male character ever. I did this last year, so I feel like it's tradition at this point. It's time to rank Emily Henry's books in terms of my enjoyment. Number 1 is Beach Read. I don't think anything will ever change that. But number 2, I think this one is in the running. I didn't even say this. It's 5 stars. Like, I think you can tell by the way I'm talking about it. This book is 5 stars to me. I can't see it any other way. I think Great Big Beautiful Life is number 2 after Beach Read, which is so crazy, but 2 writers, Gus and Hayden, have similar vibes. This does kind of make sense. And then, oh, I'm gonna have such a controversial one, because there's a book that's always in people's like 1 or 2 spot, and it's near the bottom of my list, but I think, ooh, I don't know. 3rd, I'm gonna say Funny Story. I think this is so difficult. Okay, 4th is genuinely a tie between People We Meet on Vacation and Happy Place. I really don't know. Happy Place is the one that I was gonna say is in everyone's top 1 or 2, and I just never really, I actually really didn't relate to Harriet that much, and I know a lot of people do. It was also the saddest of all the romances, but the setting was great. I think I just really attached to books where it's like 2 characters mainly, not an entire friend group, and this one had the most characters in it. So I think People Who Meet on Vacation is 4th, and then Happy Place, and then Book Lovers. I have yet to reread this, but there's a very strong sister relationship in this one, and I don't have any sisters. I felt like that was a little bit hard to relate to for me personally. So as you can see, all of the ratings are very personal about what I can relate to in my real life. So that's my ranking, I guess. Look how happy all these books look. So in conclusion, the answer to the title title is 2 5-star books in one video. I'd say that's a pretty big success. Until I see you guys next, go follow my Instagram. I have some big announcements this summer that I'm really excited for, like really excited for. So, but until next time, we'll see you somewhere else on the internet. Bye.